Hey everybody, my name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. I wanted to thank you for listening to this episode of The Morning Show. I'm the creator, the producer, and the host of the show. We want you to check out our website. It's themorningshowwithnatalie.com. You can go to that website. You can see all about our sponsors, all about the show. You can even listen to live episodes while they're going on right there from the website. Another way to listen to the show live is go to Live 365. You can download that app and just search for The Morning Show. It's right there. Super easy. We want you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you will. That way you can keep up with what's going on The Morning Show. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it.
My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. You are listening to The Morning Show. I've anticipated this for about a month now. If we've ever had a true star with us on our show, well, we've got one today. He's not only one of the best musicians that you will ever experience, he's an entrepreneur. He's a radio broadcasting king, and he's a music educator as well. We're talking about the one and only multi-award-winning Joe Mullins, and I am in awe. Welcome to The Morning Show, Mr. Mullins.
Well, hello, Natalie. It's just Joe. You said something about Joe Mullins and manure. Sounded to me like.
Not hardly. No, not a long shot. No way. We are beside ourselves to have you on the show. I'm a new fan to Joe Mullins, but I'm a true fan now if there ever has been. We want to talk about Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers today, but first, in this first segment, I just want to talk about Joe Mullins, the man, for just a few minutes. Your albums have received over a dozen International Bluegrass Music Association awards, more than we could ever cover in one interview. But I'll just say most notably, in 2019, you won the Entertainer of the Year. That was with the Radio Ramblers, the highest award that a band can earn within that genre. You have more than 22 albums and projects to your names. You have recorded with everybody who is anybody in bluegrass. And not only are you talented beyond the imagination, but you are brilliant. And I think the best word to describe Joe Mullins is classy. You're just classy, Mr. Joe. But you didn't start this yesterday. You've been singing and playing a lifetime. And I believe it actually all started with your dad. I know we don't have a lot of time, but tell us how this all got going.
Yeah, I grew up in the presence of the bluegrass greats because my dad played them all on the radio and played the fiddle with most of them at some time or another. My dad became a member of the Bluegrass Hall of Fame just last year. He's been gone for many years. His career started in the late 50s, playing the fiddle with the Stanley Brothers. Then he started on radio in 1960. And he had about a 45-year career as a broadcaster. And all along the way, he was still in demand as a fiddle player with a lot of groups on a lot of great recording sessions. I came along, and in my early teens, I started fiddling with the banjo very sincerely. And at that time, I got to see Ralph Stanley and Don Reno and J.D. Crowe and Sonny Osborne and all these banjo greats on quite a regular basis. And they were all wonderful mentors to me, just like my dad was. At the same time, I started on radio as a professional broadcaster, still in high school at age 16. So I've combined the two, banjo picking and broadcasting, for a lifetime. My dad did it with a fiddle and broadcasting, and very fortunate at a young age to be on some big stages. And also at a young age, bought my first radio station. I came off the road from a full-time touring career in 1995. And bought a local radio station in Xenia, Ohio, southwestern Ohio. All the area in the Cincinnati and Dayton region has a rich history in bluegrass to begin with, and it's from the majority of my dad's broadcasting career had a big impact. So to buy a local radio station in this wonderful area for bluegrass music fans, it was a wonderful blessing to me and to my family. And I needed a new start. I'd been on the road and just about burned out at a young age. And the good Lord saw fit to let me expand a local business base with a radio station, and wound up building a regional network here of 3 AM and FM channels that cover the whole southwestern Ohio area. And with bluegrass in demand here, through a couple of generations, and with me able to give it a whole lot of new life with radio programming. My radio stations aren't all bluegrass, but bluegrass is included right alongside traditional country music and the area farm news and community events. So bluegrass is a priority on my radio station, and it's kept it in demand here in this region. So I had to create a band to help fill the demand for regional entertainment and promotion. So Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers launched 17 years ago. So the combination works very well as being a broadcaster and a bluegrass band leader, and I've been very blessed.
Yeah, that is fascinating to me. I was going to ask you about those radio stations. Now, they're all still, you're still running that today. All of those stations still play. That's still ongoing, right?
Yeah, it's a regional network called Real Roots Radio. And we've also been streaming our radio programming online for several years. And we're finding out we have thousands of listeners on our app, realrootsradio.com. Your listeners can have another resource to listen to quality programming in a digital format. Any app store, type in Real Roots Radio. And it's a combination of traditional country and bluegrass and personality-oriented programming. We are live all day, every day. I'm not alone. I'm blessed to be surrounded by some veteran broadcasters that have been part of my team for a long time. My son Daniel is a third-generation broadcaster, and he's a big part of our radio network on air daily.
Wow. Well, you're going to get some new listeners because we're going to look it up. We're going to check it out. We're going to start listening, Mr. Joe.
Well, Eastern time, 1 p.m., when I'm not on the road with the Radio Ramblers, every day at 1 p.m. Eastern at Real Roots Radio, I host an hour called Hymns from the Hills. I do a gospel hour that's mostly bluegrass. And then at 2 o'clock every day, it's the Banjo Show. And that's an hour of bluegrass, and that's 50-50, classic and current, past and present, high and lonesome, all the good stuff off the top shelf for that hour. And when I'm away, it's Daniel and other veteran broadcasters that present those 2 hours. So everybody can easily find Real Roots Radio and put the app on your device and hear us worldwide.
We're going to look it up. I want to ask you one more question about this radio business. Now, I read about a syndicated radio show that you've got called Front Porch Fellowship. Now, is that what you're talking about at 1 o'clock, or this is something different that goes out across the nation in Canada, right?
And now this is different. Yeah, Front Porch Fellowship is owned by Singing News Radio, which is the big traditional gospel voice. Singing News out of Nashville publication, and Singing News Radio Network is a Southern gospel format that's heard on radio stations across the country. They own the program Front Porch Fellowship, and I became the host about 8 years ago, and it's a weekly bluegrass gospel hour that's on their entire network, plus about another 130 or 40 stations. It's on somewhere between 150 and 200 radio stations all across the country, mainly the U.S. states. I think we do have some Canadian affiliates, but it's in over 150 U.S. radio stations, and it's on mostly gospel stations. It's the only bluegrass hour that a lot of gospel fans get to hear every week, and it's my privilege to let them hear not only today's bluegrass gospel, whether that be the Radio Ramblers or Authentic Unlimited or Russell Moore and Third Time Out, but also the Stanley Brothers and Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs, and a whole lifetime of bluegrass gospel is presented in that 1 hour every week.
Yeah. Well, they need to hear it. We want to hear it. It needs to be heard. I told you he was something, ladies and gentlemen. I told you Joe Mullins was something, and now you see that I was right. Don't go anywhere, because after this song, we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Radio Ramblers. We're going to talk about this brand new album that they have out. It's entitled Let Time Ride, and this is the title track from that album. Here it is, Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers. Here's the title track.
Young and wild as a buck in Tennessee, no dad at home, the oldest of three. Worked the biggest farm in our town. Mama prayed someday I'd settle down. I can hear the voice of time calling, like the rain on the rooftops quickly falling. A train run out of track with no way to turn back. Hold on tight and let time ride. Flowing hair in the bright sunshine morn. I met a girl, and then I met the Lord. Though mama's gone, I know she'd be proud. I made that for my very own somehow. I can hear the voice of time calling, like the rain on the rooftops quickly falling. A train run out of track with no way to turn back. Hold on tight and let time ride. My blue eyes slowly fading into gray. Sweetheart in the yard, kids out to play. Memories that time cannot erase. In my heart and mind, a smile upon my face. I can hear the voice of time calling, like the rain on the rooftops quickly falling. A train run out of track with no way to turn back. Hold on tight and let time ride. A train run out of track with no way to turn back. Hold on tight and let time ride.
All right, I love that title track right there. Did you write that, Joe Mullins?
No, my daughter-in-law wrote that. I'm so proud of her. I mentioned my son Daniel a minute ago. He's a broadcaster and a great journalist and podcaster and writer, not a songwriter, again, a journalist and a leader for IBMA. He was the education director for a few years. But he married up, just like most successful people in bluegrass. If you're just an old hairy-legged country boy that loves to pick and sing or has a passion for this kind of music, if you marry up, it's a great benefit to you. And Daniel married Miss Santana Bell a couple of years ago. She's one of the female graduates from the East Tennessee State University Bluegrass and Old Time Music program. ETSU has produced some outstanding talent in every segment of the roots music community. And while Santana was in college a few years ago at ETSU, her and her professor sent me a little demo of the song Let Time Ride. And it was quite contagious. And I saved it just for the right time. Made the perfect title track for the new album by the Radio Ramblers.
It sure did. She's the real deal, isn't she?
She's the real deal. She's a beautiful country girl from right on the edge of the Smoky Mountains, and a great blessing to our family, and Daniel's beloved bride, and a good songwriter. So hopefully everybody will enjoy the title track of our new album.
Wow. Well, I already have, and they're going to enjoy it when they get it for sure. Well, let's focus on the Radio Ramblers. You've already covered a lot of things that I had to say. The group was formed in 2006, and for the purpose of promoting those radio programs and the radio stations that you had going on. I do want to ask you this. Is it the same lineup today as in 2006, or has the group changed?
No, we've been pretty consistent, but things do change. When the band started in early 2006, we were playing locally. And we were playing radio promotions. Our first gig was at a used car lot. We played furniture store tent sales. We played grocery store parking lots. We played county fairs and community centers and local street festivals and all kinds of things in the early days. I was so blessed to have a good combination of talent. And by the time we did our second recording session, it got national distribution, and we took a contract then with a great bluegrass record label. And once our music was heard beyond Ohio, it created a demand for us. And we've toured full-time since 2011. Once we started a full-time touring schedule, a few of the guys hadn't planned on that and couldn't be gone as much as the rest of us needed to be. And so the band took a few changes. But Adam McIntosh is in the band, Adam is our original guitar player and vocalist. He did leave the band for a few years. He and his family moved out west for a while, but he's been back for quite a while. And he helped me produce this album. He's got a great ear for how our harmonies come together and how we arrange songs. Jason Berry has also been in the band he's in his 9th year, I think. He's our fiddle player. And again, he doesn't sing a lot, but he's got a great ear for arrangements. Jason had worked for Doyle Lawson for a long time before he came to the Radio Ramblers, so he's got a vast amount of recording experience. And so does Randy Barnes. Randy is in his 10th year as our bass player. Could sing any part, but he sings the bass part when we do a quartet number all the time. And rock solid. Worked with so many bands, from Marty Rabin to Rhonda Vincent before the Radio Ramblers. And the newest addition to the Radio Ramblers is Chris Davis. Chris grew up right here in southwestern Ohio near where I am, but he's been on the road for a lifetime with so many great bands and lives in eastern Kentucky near Ashland. And Chris and I have been acquaintances forever, and I've been a big fan of his. He sang a lot of great music with Junior Sisk, was with the Grascals the last few years, but from his house to Nashville, where their home base is, was twice as far as it is back to where I am. And it was a natural progression to take Chris as part of the group. And me and him and Adam, we certainly enjoy arranging the vocal harmonies for what we do on this album. And so I'm blessed with a great team. I'm an old guy that's just carved out a lot of opportunities and been very blessed. And I'm surrounded by and standing on the shoulders of a great band.
You may have started at a car lot, but you didn't stay there. 2013, you were on the Grand Ole Opry stage with the Radio Ramblers. How about that?
Oh, that's the highlight so far of what I've done musically. Grew up an Opry fan. Grew up knowing, Bill Monroe and Flat Scruggs and Jim and Jesse and the Osborne Brothers, and then even 30 years ago, Alison Krauss and Dale McCurry, all those greats make their mark on that Opry stage. These days, Rhonda Vincent, the Isaacs, all of our contemporaries have a home at that Opry. And what a privilege that many of us get to be regular guests there. And we get to do an Opry performance usually 2 or 3 times a year. I think we've been on the Opry stage about 25 times in the last decade. And it's a blessing every time you get included to stand where Monroe and Flat and Scruggs started the whole thing.
That's amazing. I went to the Opry for the first time last week. It was on my bucket list to go. I had my first experience there last Tuesday night. Fantastic. I believe it was the time of my life to sit at the Opry.
It always is. And there's a huge variety of everything that makes up country music, past and present, almost in every Opry show. You'll see senior members of the Opry, from Hall of Famers like Bill Anderson, to today's best in young talent and bluegrass and singer-songwriters. I've been an Opry fan and been personally to dozens of performances, and I've never seen a bad show. And now this last decade, the Radio Ramblers have been on a couple of dozen Opry performances, and whether we're there or not, the Opry is always exciting.
Well, I did fulfill the item on my bucket list to go to the Opry, but now I have a new one, and that's to go hear Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers at the Opry. So I'm going to keep up. I'm going to be watching, and I hope down the road to hear you guys there at the Grand Ole.
Well, you follow us on Facebook. Our schedule is always up to date. I'm blessed, besides a great band, I'm blessed with a great team, and Kimberly Williams of East Public Relations keeps everything front and center on social media and on our website and every place else. And then Laura Maynor of Main Attraction Management keeps our schedule full. So we're easily found, and we would love to see you, your audience, those that are hearing this today, at a Radio Ramblers gathering very soon.
The lines of wisdom on his face told me he'd been around. That old man had me sized up before I even sat down. With every round, the liquor seemed to loosen up my tongue. He shook his head as if he knew where I was coming from. down, and how there must be more to life than what I've got right now. Then a girl I barely knew walked up. I winked and lit a smoke. I said, old man, you talk too much. That's when he finally spoke. I've been down that road. I know right where it goes. It's not paved with yellow brick, and there's no pot of gold. It's like heaven for a while, but it's hell the last few miles. I should know, I've been down that road. The words he said hit me just like a hard right to the face. When he said, think twice before you throw it all away. You're standing at the crossroad now. Son, I've been where you are. I'm living proof you can't go back once you've gone too far. I've been down that road. I know right where it goes. It's not paved with yellow brick, and there's no pot of gold. It's like heaven for a while, but it's hell the last few miles. I should know, I've been down that road. I should know, I've been down that road.
Let's talk just a little bit about this brand new album. It was released on March the 17th. That was just last Friday, so it's brand new. We told the title, Let Time Ride, 12 songs. It's on the Billy Blue record label. This album is my new playlist. I just play it. I bought it on iTunes. I play it over and over and over again. It is fantastic. Now, you are a songwriter, right? You do write. I mean, how many of these did you write?
I didn't write anything on this album. I haven't written very many songs with, it's an excuse, but as much as I have going on, it's kind of hard to segregate myself and channel enough good thoughts. I keep a whole list full of ideas in my phone, and when I get around a good songwriter, like Jerry Salley or Larry Cordell or Jeff McClellan or some of these guys that write for us, I'll collaborate on an idea. But I just mentioned three of the names that have submitted songs to us that have been successful through the years. And we have songs on here by all those folks and others. It's mostly new songs. There's a few old cover tunes that I dug out, and a couple of rare gems that some guys in the band found. I guess the only popular song on the album that anybody may have heard before, Casting Crowns, is quite a successful contemporary Christian band, and their song Scars in Heaven is so special. I hadn't heard it before, but Jason loved the song and sent it to Adam and said, we ought to consider singing this, and those two arranged it, and it turned out very well, very moving song. The other new songs on here, Jerry Salley and Larry Cordell wrote I've Been Down That Road, and Jeff McClellan and Daniel Salyer wrote Black and White. That little tune suited me just fine, because I don't care what's on television. If Andy Griffith in one of their Black and White episodes is on TV, I just stop it right there. And it does me a whole lot more good if I can watch Andy Griffith for a half hour instead of watching the news.
Absolutely. I've cut it off. I've cut the news off. Can't watch the news.
I have to. I might scroll the headlines once a day with my cup of coffee to make sure the world ain't going to end. I think we'd be a whole lot better off if we'd pay more attention to the lessons in Andy Griffith than on CNN or Fox.
I think you are dead on, and that's the exact song I had picked to play right now, Black and White. I love Glory Road, but this may be my next favorite song on the album is Black and White. It may be my pick on the whole project. Let's play it right now. You said Jerry Salley helped write this?
No, Daniel Salyer. Daniel Salyer and Jeff McClellan.
Okay.
They wrote the song and sent it to me a year or two ago, and it just suited me perfect. I don't like to live in the past. I don't sit around and yearn for the good old days. Every day is a good day. This is the day the Lord's made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. But let's also have a little common sense and a little love and respect for a fellow man. And I think that's what the song's about.
It's fantastic. It's on the new album. If you don't have this album yet, you are behind. You need to go get it right now. It's available anywhere you get your music. Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers, Let Time Ride. Here's Black and White from that album.
Andy Griffith, Comer Pyle, I Love Lucy made us smile. Gathered all around our TV set. Though no colors would appear, we could see the world so clear. On an RCA Sears credit helped us get. Oh, how I miss the days when the world was black and white. The golden rule was still alive, and we knew wrong from right. Now everything's so gray, we can't tell the day from night. Yes, everything seemed better when the world was black and white. Young'uns running round, riding bikes all over town. Supper time was time to come back in. We loved our neighbors more, didn't know what locks were for. Lord, I wish we all could go back there again. Oh, how I miss the days when the world was black and white. The golden rule was still alive, and we knew wrong from right. Now everything's so gray, we can't tell the day from night. Yes, everything seemed better when the world was black and white. Computer screens and mobile things are everywhere today, but I miss the times when conversations happened face to face. Oh, how I miss the days when the world was black and white. The golden rule was still alive, and we knew wrong from right. Now everything's so gray, we can't tell the day from night. Yes, everything seemed better when the world was black and white.
I love that Black and White. That's a whole lot of fun. But let's take a minute and talk about the new single, because we have really been playing it a lot the last few weeks on our show. We're predominantly Southern gospel, Mr. Joe, here on the morning show, but we love to throw in some bluegrass every single day. We throw in some bluegrass.
Bless you. Everybody else will follow your lead.
Well, I hope they will. I hope we're starting a trend, but we never miss a day without throwing in 2 or 3 good bluegrass songs. And you mentioned some good groups. We love Authentic Unlimited. We still play Doyle Lawson. We like Balsam Range. We play some Balsam Range, and we love Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers. They are the best of the best. And we love this new song, Glory Road. It's your new single, right?
It's a gospel feature, our quartet. I like the old style, when you've got just a mandolin and the guitar. That's a style started by Bill Monroe and Lester Flatt in the very earliest days of bluegrass sacred recordings. And we still enjoy that. Chris can present that style of mandolin as good as anybody alive. Adam on the guitar, and then our quartet comes in, Adam and Chris, and me and Randy. And I'm a born-again believer, and we love presenting the gospel in bluegrass songs. This song was produced by Marty Stewart and these boys first. Marty never put it in an album. Marty had the best television show on RFD network years ago. It still runs reruns, but back a decade or more ago when that show was in current circulation, Marty and the boys sang this on television, and I don't think it ever wound up in an album anywhere. So that inspired us. He's a great talent in every regard, and so the song suited our quartet in this style. So hopefully folks will enjoy the Glory Road for a long time. It's one of 3 gospel or sacred style songs on the album, along with Scars in Heaven, our bluegrass version, that contemporary classic. And we dug into the old hymnal. Mm-hmm. I'm at the Missionary Baptist Church in Springfield, Ohio, every Sunday when I'm not on the road. And I've been attached to that congregation for years. We still dig into the old church hymnal, sing the old shape note hymns, usually once or twice every Sunday morning. And page 28 is the Albert E. Brumley classic, It's a Grand and a Glorious Feeling. As I go, we did an a cappella treatment on that song.
It's great. It's the last one on the album, number 12.
Yeah. And we've done 3 all gospel albums over the past decade and a half. And most recently the album Somewhere Beyond the Blue, just 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's great. We've played a lot of songs off of that album on our show. And right now we are pushing Glory Road. We're going to keep playing it. We're going to keep playing it because it is so worthy to be played. Here's the new single from our featured artist of the week, Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers.
There's a glory road down here below, where the saints of God do bid their souls. It's the path from sin that pilgrims trod. This holy road to the city of God. On the glory road, there's many a trial. Keep it praying on, each and every mile, until the day we reach our home. Eternal. Keep pressing on, the glory road, The way is dark and often steep, but God the Father watches me. He guides my steps, He leads me on, and gives me peace as I travel along. On the glory road, there's many a trial. Keep it praying on, each and every mile, until the day we reach our home. Eternal. Keep pressing on, the glory road,
Mr. Joe, I want to tell you what an honor this has been. I've been looking forward to it for several weeks. This has been the highlight, maybe the morning show for me, to have you here on our show today. I know you're awful busy, and I appreciate you taking your time to be with us this morning.
Well, I'm grateful, Natalie, for your enthusiasm for what we do and for the new album. And your listeners can find us online very easily. If they want to buy a compact disc, radioramblers.com. Our schedule's all up to date right there. We'd love to see everybody very soon. Of course, you can go to any digital resource and download the album as well as soon as possible. And hopefully you will always have a spot in your playlist. We're very grateful to you.
You can bank on that. You do have a spot. You always will. And you have a friend here on the morning show. Don't forget that.
Well, thank you. We look forward to seeing you very soon. God bless you, and keep playing the Radio Ramblers.
We're going to do it. We appreciate you, Mr. Joe. We'll catch up again later.
All right. You take care. If you need anything else anytime, you text me or call me.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right.
Bye-bye.
I'm walking your streets again, big city, searching every face that I see, looking for my darling big city, the one that you took away from me. Nightlife, big city, take her from me, you know it was wrong. I'm searching night and day for her big city. Without her loving, I just can't go home. Took my love away from me, big city. Stole her out of my two loving arms. You know I'm gonna hate you, big city, if you brought my baby any harm. Searching every face that I see, looking for my darling big city, the one that you took away from me, the one that you took away from me.